Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and you know who I think has the most important job in the entire world of Pokemon? Well, I guess looking at Chansey and Blissey, I gave you the full answer. That's right, all the nurses and doctors who work in the Pokémon Center. They work really hard to restore all of our Pokemon to full health. And also, who doesn't go to the Pokémon Center or visit it on a daily basis? I think that we really missed the fact that the nurses and the doctors work really hard for trainers like us. After all, they not only heal our health and PP, they also heal plenty of status conditions, especially for Pokemon that are paralyzed, burned, poisoned, and of course, frozen. Pretty much everyone in the entire Pokemon Center heals one another. And it's pretty cool to see how much they do. Oh, but the only thing that they really cannot heal is Pokerus. After all, there's very little that is known about Pokerus. Even a professor like me doesn't really have much of a clue of how that works and how it spreads. Even though we're oftentimes the hero in our adventure, I think the real heroes are the people and the Pokemon that work in the Pokemon Center. After all, when our Pokemon aren't doing well and they really need to be better, who do we go to? Yep, that's right. We always pay a visit to the Pokemon Center. And without the Pokemon Center, things would be really hard. I'm just glad that we have Nurse Joy, so many doctors, and of course, we have Chansey and Blissey, who really help us out a lot on our journey. Throughout almost every region, we've always had a Blissey and a Chansey helping Nurse Joy restore Pokemon and being like a secondary nurse or an assistant. But it started getting kinda old. So, when Generation 5 finally came out in the Unova region, we finally got a brand new recruit to finally help Nurse Joy. Not just was it going to be an assistant, but it could also be a doctor or even a nurse to anyone who needed help. What's that? What's that? The nurse and the doctor has finally arrived. That's right. Paging Dr. Audino, you're wanted for this video. In my opinion, Audino was a huge breath of fresh air to finally see a new face working at the Pokemon Center. This is a great Pokemon, and I also really hope that in future generations, we get another Pokemon just like Audino that works at the Poke Center. After all, Audino is a great Pokemon, but it also has a big heart, and it really loves to give hugs. This makes it the perfect Pokemon to be both a doctor and a nurse, not just to Pokemon, but to humans as well. Audino is probably one of the most unique Pokemon, as it could appear in every route in the Unova region, but only in the rustling grass. I'm pretty sure that so many of us encountered this Pokemon for the first time when we walked into the rustling grass. After all, finding an Audino was a pretty good experience for us if we were grinding, but also Audino made a pretty good Pokemon if you had it by your side, as it really had the great power of healing other Pokemon. Plus, with its move, Secret Power, it could really help you out a lot in the battle. I remember how many times my Audino put the foe to sleep when it used kind of Needle Arm. Man, Audino is one incredible Pokemon. You also really gotta love Audino's ears. These are really incredible. Also, the feelers at the end of Audino's ears act as little stethoscopes, and with that amazing hearing, Audino can hear everything that's going on in the human body and tell us what we need to worry about and what's fine. Also, this Pokemon has such great hearing that you would not believe how many things it can hear from how far away. I just want to say that I am blown away for how smart Audino is. This is a Pokemon that really holds a lot from us. Audino is so smart that not only is it a doctor and a nurse, it knows how to be a physician, it knows how to be a psychologist, it can even be a tutor if you're struggling in both math and the medical field. This Pokemon is so amazing that it can make its own medicine, and it probably has known all the cures that it does, even without even making the medicine. Also, with how intelligent Audino is, I would not be surprised if this Pokemon actually knew what the cure to Pokerus was, but it chooses not to since Pokerus makes most of the other Pokemon that suffer it get even stronger. Well, maybe one day Audino could show us. For those of you out there who are trying to become doctors, nurses, or anything in the medical field, that's a great idea, and Audino is the best Pokemon to help you out with the job. This Pokemon has been in the medical field since the beginning of time. In fact, it's said that some of our medicines that we have today were first made by Audino. Wow, this Pokemon is so cool. So let's learn everything we need to know about Audino, and for those of you who really want to go in the medical field or want to be first responders, this is a great Pokemon to use as a role model. But before we do that, I want to give a very special thanks and shout out to artist HTTP Koopa on Etsy. Today's shirt is the fairy type jersey. I thought I'd try to color coordinate with Audino because just like Audino, it's pink and blue. If you really like these jerseys I wear in my videos, I think that you'll look great in them. So please check out HTTP Koopa on Etsy. I have a link to his Etsy shop in the description below. So please buy a shirt from this talented artist. He doesn't just make Pokemon shirts, he also does other video game shirts as well as cartoon shirts. So yeah, give a talented artist some good business. Stop buying those silly stock image t-shirts. You'll look even better with one of these, and you'll also be showing the typing that you really love how much you like it. Oh, and don't forget to tell him Professor Palm sent you. While I may not be sponsored, I still want to say thank you for all you've done, HTTP Koopa. You are amazing. Are you feeling okay, trainer? I hope that you're feeling 100%. Well, if you're suffering any bad symptoms, Audino can hear it. And here comes the doctor, the hearing Pokemon itself, Audino. Audino, the hearing Pokemon, is based on rabbits. However, Audino also has similar features to that of physicians or nurses. The area around its inner ear, which are its feelers, that act like an antenna or a butterfly's proboscis. Also, Audino's ears themselves resemble butterfly wings. For its habitat in the wild, it's rumored that most Audino live in the forests and the woods. However, this is unknown as Audino are rarely seen in the wild. You see, Audino are rather shy, and they retreat and hide if they ever hear someone approaching. However, you'll find no shortage of Audino working in the Pokémon Center, assisting Nurse Joy in both the Unova region and the Kalos region. Like I said, most Audino work in Pokémon Centers and hospitals. They're often seen as assisting both doctors and nurses. However, Audino can also fill the role of doctor if it needs to, as this Pokemon has amazing skills, especially for healing others. The feelers on Audino's ears act as stethoscopes. When Audino touches others with its feelers, it can listen to heartbeats, and it can also tell how others are feeling. Not only that, but Audino can also hear other amazing things in the body. In fact, Audino can pick up on what systems are functioning at full capacity and which ones are not. The feelers on Audino's ears are sensitive to body heat, and Audino can even tell how your emotions are. It can sense the changes in body heat of emotions in both people and Pokemon. Also, if we're on the subject of body heat, Audino can even tell when an egg is going to hatch because of the changes of the egg temperature. As its species name suggests, the hearing Pokemon, Audino's sense of hearing is superb. Audino's got such great hearing that even a pebble rolling over a mile away cannot escape Audino's ears. It's often said because of how great Audino's hearing is, no one can keep a secret nor a whisper from Audino's ears. Audino has a big heart and it loves all. It cares for any Pokemon or human no matter what. Also, most of the time, Audino really love to give hugs, which is rather surprising that these Pokemon are really shy in the wild. But if you befriend one, giving it a hug means you'll be friends forever. Audino are rather intelligent as they can learn any language within a matter of minutes, so you'll never have problem communicating with Audino. They're also great with math and are talented chemists. Audino have been known to make their own medicine. Audino are patient with others as they're rather calm Pokemon. Oftentimes, Audino use the move Heal Pulse not only to heal others, but also bring them to a calm state, and it also makes other Pokemon and people in a better state of mind. Some Audino have a habit of berry picking and herb collecting. Since they make their own meds and pharmaceuticals, Audino like to experiment and see what new things they can offer. Some of our best medicine came from Audino's curiosity. Even though they appear in different regions, Audino never has any resentment nor any rivalry towards Chansey or Blissey. In fact, it's said that many times, Chansey, Blissey, and Audino not only work together, but always teach each other new skills. Audino is such a sweetheart, who has a big heart, calm nature, warm presence, and big hugs to match. And who would have guessed that it gets even sweeter and more elegant? Well, it does when it goes Mega! Thanks to Professor Sycamore's research on Mega Evolution, in Generation 6, we learned that Audino could evolve into Mega Audino, and Audino currently is the only Generation 5 Pokemon capable of Mega Evolution. When Audino Mega evolves, it becomes a sight to behold. They take up a hobby of dancing, and it's said seeing Mega Audino dance can make even your saddest and most upsetting days the happiest. Mega Audino's healing ability also has gone Mega, as it can release pulses that reduce hostile feelings and soothe minds. Its power is so good that it can even now heal broken bones. Upon Mega Evolution, Audino also gains a new pair of feelers, and these secondary feelers can put those who come into contact with them into a pleasant deep sleep with nothing but good dreams. They also have the power to show what you really want and desire. Even if they battle, Mega Audino still prefer the peaceful route, and that new fairy typing isn't just for show. They have incredible pixie power, and they're ready to share kindness and love to all Pokemon. In Mega Audino's book, love and kindness conquers all. With all that Mega power behind them, imagine how much Audino can do. If you ask me, Audino deserves a doctorate degree, because now it's a full-fledged doctor. I guess now it needs Blissey, Chansey, and Nurse Joy to work as its assistants in the Pokémon Center. Audino made its anime debut in the Black and White series episode, Dreams by the Yardful. In this episode, Audino was working with Nurse Joy and brought Ash his Pikachu and Pokemon after his battle at the Striaton City gym. Ash was starstruck as he had never seen an Audino before. Also in this episode, the Who's That Pokemon was Audino, and throughout Ash's entire journey in Unova, he always met Audino at every Pokémon Center. In the core series games, sadly Audino has never been the signature Pokemon of any trainer. Not even a single doctor or nurse in the entire Unova region uses one. But it was on the team of Lenora when she fought in the Pokemon World Tournament in Black and White 2. In Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, there's an NPC, female Audino, who takes the role of school nurse as well as head doctor in the Serene Village. On a cool note, Audino is the only Pokemon Center Pokemon to have a 50-50 gender ratio, as Chansey and Blissey are pure female, giving them an 100% female ratio, while Comfey in the Alola region have a 75%-25% gender ratio. In the wild, Audino is only available in all patches of Rustling Grass in Black and White, as well as Black 2 and White 2. It also has a 50% chance of holding the item the Oran Berry, or a 5% chance of holding the item the Citrus Berry. Audino has a signature move, and that of course is Secret Power. While Secret Power has been around since Generation 3, Audino is currently the only Pokemon capable of learning the move Secret Power through Level Up, as no other Pokemon can. Audino do not prefer to battle, as they're healers and they prefer to go the peaceful route. However, if they're backed into a corner, they will fight. But being normal-type Pokemon, Audino only have a single weakness, and that of course is to fighting-type Pokemon. Seeing that it only has one weakness, maybe we should look at its strengths. Sadly, being a normal-type Pokemon, Audino does not have any strengths, as Normal is currently the only typing to have no strengths. But thankfully, Audino does have an immunity, and that of course is to Ghost-type. So yeah, Ghost-type moves won't hurt Audino, but unfortunately Audino cannot hurt any Ghost-type Pokemon. Well, Audino also Mega Evolves, and it gains an entirely new typing, so let's check out Mega Audino's weaknesses, strengths, and immunities. Thanks to Mega Evolution, not only does Audino gain a new typing with Fairy, but it also gains a higher special defense, as this Pokemon still likes to be rather peaceful as it's a healer. And it does have a few new weaknesses, as it's a Fairy type, fighting is no longer its main weakness. Its main weaknesses are Steel type and Poison type. Wow, now it has two brand new weaknesses, and it has at least one new weakness over its original side, which only had one. But now we should check out Audino's strengths. That's right, the Fairy typing gave Audino something it never had before, strengths. Even though it doesn't have the Fairy typing, it does learn a lot of Fairy type moves, and it's great to see that Audino finally has strengths, so it can finally use moves and have them be super effective. With its Fairy typing, it's super effective on Pokemon that are Dark type, Fighting type, and Dragon type. Wow, Mega Evolution and getting the Fairy typing really gave Audino a huge upgrade. Now this Pokemon can even take on dragons. But it also now has two immunities, being both a normal and a Fairy type. As I said before, Mega Audino having the Fairy typing makes it super effective on Dragon type Pokemon, but also now is completely immune to any Dragon type moves. That's right, if a Dragon type Pokemon uses a Dragon type move on Mega Audino, it won't do any damage thanks to Pixie Power. However, it also has another immunity. And of course, the other immunity to Mega Audino is Ghost. Being a normal and Fairy type Pokemon, it now has two immunities. That's pretty cool that now it has 2 weaknesses, 3 strengths, and 2 immunities. Audino really got lucky when it upgraded with Mega Evolution. This Pokemon really knows how to go Mega in a battle. If you walk into the rustling grass and catch a wild Audino, like most Pokemon, Audino can have one of 2 abilities, being either Healer or Regenerator. An Audino with the ability Healer can be great for double battles, as it may cure the status conditions of one of your allies. Also, the Healer ability is the same thing that it has when it's Mega Audino. On the other hand, an Audino with the ability Regenerator restores its HP a little bit when it's withdrawn from battle. All in all, I guess you could say that Audino is making its own little potion. And with hidden abilities that were introduced in Generation 5, being the same generation that Audino was introduced in, Audino's hidden ability is Klutz, which makes Audino unable to use held items, which really may not come in handy unless you hold a bad item and your opponent takes it with the move Switcheroo. I'll never forget the first time I found Audino. Like so many of you who played Black and White or Black and White 2, I went into the rustling grass and I encountered this amazing Pokemon. At first I really didn't like Audino, but as time has gone on, I really love this Pokemon, and I've learned just how great it can be on any team. While Audino may not be the strongest Pokemon, and it has better special defense than all other stats, it's the heart that counts, and Audino is a great Pokemon to have always by your side. Not just because it's a healer, but it's also a big sweetheart who always cares about you no matter what. Out of all Generation 5 Pokemon that deserved Mega Evolutions, I think a lot of us were surprised it was Audino who got it. But you know something? I think the Fairy typing works perfectly with Audino, not just because of the healing area or because of that gentle heart it has, but it really deserved more than what we gave it. I mean, a lot of us use this Pokemon to help us gain experience, but now this Pokemon can Mega Evolve, and it can also show us a lot of new things that we never knew. So yeah, I do wish that we got other Pokemon from Generation 5 to Mega Evolve, but if Audino had to Mega Evolve, I'm glad that was the one that was chosen. Audino's big ears are not just for show. I really like the fact that Audino can hear so much with it. It can hear what's wrong with someone, as well as it can hear what's going on around it. So yeah, I really do think that keeping a secret from Audino is impossible. And if you have to tell your secrets to anyone, who better than a sweetheart like this Pokemon who will hear you out and always help. With how intelligent Audino is, I think that if you're in medical school and you're trying to become a Pokemon doctor or a Pokemon nurse, this is probably the best study buddy you could ever have. Audino is great at making medicine, it's awesome at math, and of course, this Pokemon can learn every single language. So, if you have your Audino as your study buddy, you're going to pass every single test in medical school and become the greatest doctor or nurse you'll ever be. After so many years of Blissey and Chansey working with Nurse Joy, it was great to finally see a new face working in the Pokémon Center in the Unova region. Audino is a perfect addition to the medical team, and it can do so much for people and Pokemon. The best part is that Audino can fill the role of doctor or nurse anytime. So, when you're in a Pokémon Center in either the Kalos region or the Unova region and an Audino walks to you, just know the doctor is in. I hope that you had a wonderful visit with the doctor, and you weren't too scared. I also hope that Audino didn't have to give you a shot. Well, before we end this, I have a few questions for you. Do you think Audino is a good addition to the medical field, or do you really not like this Pokemon? Also, in Generation 10, do you think that we should get another Pokemon that's an expert in the medical field added to the Pokedex, or do you think that it's fine with what we have? Since Audino can Mega Evolve, and it's sadly the only Generation 5 Pokemon that's capable of Mega Evolution, do you think that's good, do you think it's bad, or do you think that there were other Pokemon that deserved Mega Evolutions from Generation 5? In any of the Unova games, whenever you saw the rustling grass and encountered yourself an Audino, did you ever catch an Audino for your team and use it for battle? Or did you just prefer to go in there, take down an Audino, and just grind for the experience points? When Audino gets its Mega Evolution, it becomes a normal Fairy-type Pokemon. Do you think that when Generation 6 introduced Fairy-type Pokemon, Audino should have become a pure Fairy-type Pokemon, or it's better off as a pure Normal-type Pokemon? And here's a little bit of a hard one. How many Nurse Joys have you talked to since you've been a Pokemon trainer? Also, which generation introduced the best Pokemon Center music as well as best Pokemon Center design? And which one introduced the worst looking Pokemon Center as well as worst music for one? I hope that you're doing A-okay, trainers. And if you're not, well, good news. The doctor is here and the doctor will see you very soon. But if you're feeling well and you liked what you saw, then please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions I threw at you, you want me to cover another Pokemon or another Pokemon line, you want me to talk about something that's going on in the world of Pokemon, or you want me to do something else Pokemon related, then please comment. And as always, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. Also, please feel free to recommend me to any other Pokemon trainer out there. As a Pokemon professor, I want to meet as many trainers as there are in the world of Pokemon. Thanks for watching, trainers. Palm out!